Hello everyone, I am Brown Exotical Glow, and in today's video, I will be talking about the entitlement and obsession some unambiguous Black women have over exoticals. So I feel like a lot of unambiguous Black women carry like a deep inferiority complex, and they are unhappy with their own image, circumstances, and their representation in the media. So they tend to obsess over and try to live vicariously through the lives and the image of mixed or ambiguous women. So I feel like they see mixed or ambiguous women as some type of it, or like a fairy, or you're like some type of doll. They need to catch, they need to observe, study, and also they want to manage and control you. I also noticed that the Black community excuses and ignores a lot of antisocial behavior. So things like stalking, harassment, and emotional instability. So things like borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, or just sociopathic behavior. I feel like oftentimes the victim is demonized. Oh, you should have known better. Or she's a whore. She deserved that. She knew what she was getting into. I feel like that type of idea is pushed amongst the Black community, especially the older generation. Like you can see how people are responding to like Cassie with the Diddy situation. Also, they look at exoticals as an extension of the Black community instead of like a separate group of people, which we are, mixed or multiracial people. They are their own separate group of people. They come from many different backgrounds. Also, monoracial Black people like myself, who are more ambiguous, we have our own unique experiences in this world that are not fully like the experiences of unambiguous Black women. Like the way I navigate through the world and the way of an unambiguous Black woman might navigate through the world might not always be the same. Similar, but not the same. Also, they think that being an exotical is like winning in a genetic lottery that no one else is allowed to play but us. They also assume that we all come from wealth, we all come from structure, lots of followers or friends, endless amounts of money, or men with money, that we have endless access. Usually, I feel like that's because something that they see on TV, like music videos, movies, shows back in the '90s, like Fresh Prince of Bel Air. They think that all exoticals are like Hillary Banks or Tatiana Ali, that we all just come from wealth, all grew up in the suburbs. But exoticals were not a monolith. Some of us come from various different backgrounds where um, they don't seem to understand that exoticals are human beings who may have come from humble beginnings. Like I said, some of us have immigrant parents, some of us come from single parents, some of us have parents with mental illnesses. I know exoticals that have parents that are schizophrenic, people have parents that are narcissists. There's all different types of things that we could have gone through because we are also human beings. We used to be children. I mean, um, also some of us grew up in foster care. And also, some of us have had to do the work to develop social skills or find like minded individuals and also go where we're appreciated, which is preached amongst Black women online, which is why exoticals move to places like LA or Miami, because I feel like that's where our image is appreciated. We're not held under this magnifying glass or held to this impossible standard. We're just looked at as humans. Also, unambiguous Black women call themselves the blueprint or queens, the original woman. But at the same time, I feel like they obsess over MLS women's features, our identity, our lifestyle, and who you're dating. Like, people are still obsessed with Cardi B, even though Cardi B is a very multiracial Dominican woman. People obsess over her dating choices, the fact that she has a lot of children, even though she was married. But still, people obsess over her choices and try to demonize her for it. And people are obsessed with how she identifies, especially Tyla. Is she Black? Is she not? I mean, it's obvious that these women are mixed. So I don't know why people try so hard to make them identify as Black when they're obviously not. Also, they fight to have some sort of connection with you. I feel like either through one sided beef or competing for male validation or trying to have a one up on you in your relationship, your career or your character. They want to know who you're dating. You know, when you're an exotical, especially when you try to join certain social groups where it's mostly monoracial people, people are going to ask you personal questions or ask you about your hair. What products do you use for your hair? What do you use for your skin? Also, people might try to sabotage you in your career, stop you from getting promotions, get you fired, or withhold information that can help you get a promotion or help you look good to the higher ups, because people want to have a one up on you because they already feel insecure around you in terms of like beauty and being desired. Also, people come for your character. Like I spoke about in many videos, how exoticals are often labeled as stuck up or mean girls, witches, whores, just for existing. Also, they look at exoticals as extensions of themselves, as I mentioned before, instead of a separate group that has had to overcome our own unique struggles, figure out our own identity, and decide what we should do with our own identity. I mean, I think because, especially in the United States, the mixed communities have been erased. You know, there were Black Seminoles, which were Afro Indigenous people, Louisiana Creole people, and they had their own history, they had their own struggles, they had to fight to reclaim their land. But, you know, that history has been erased, and you don't really see movies to represent that in the media. So a lot of people feel like exoticals, we don't have any struggles. We haven't had to overcome anything. We haven't had to go to the process of finding ourselves. They think that we're just living perfect lives like Barbie in a dream house. Also, people may assume access to your personal history, asking very invasive questions about your background, about your parents, like I mentioned before, about your hair, your skin, your features. People just assume that they can have access to you for some reason. You're not supposed to have boundaries. If you do put up boundaries, then you're a bitch. You're stuck up. Also, putting their hands in your scalp. I've had someone put their hands in my scalp to see if my hair was a wig, which is weird. I didn't even know this person's name. She didn't know my name, but she felt comfortable to put her hair in my scalp because a lot of times they see us as like Barbie dolls. Also, they're trying to tell you what race you look like. Oh, well, you just look black. No, you just look Hispanic. You just look Indian. You know, people love to tell you what you look like, but mixed people are mixed. Also, what shade your skin tone is. I've had people argue about my skin tone. No, she's light, she's dark. Also, they feel entitled to your dating choices. If you don't date unambiguous black people, specifically men, then you're automatically labeled a colorist. If you're dating another exotical, then you want to keep your family light skin, you're a colorist. Two light skin shouldn't be together. You hear things like that all the time, especially with light skin exoticals. So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. People just want to control everything about you, who you choose to date, who you choose to sleep with. They want to control your whole life like you're a doll. Exoticals are also expected to lay down and let people walk all over you. So you see the way that a lot of unambiguous black women online attack exotical women, specifically mixed celebrities. But if these celebrities clap back, then all of a sudden they bring up, oh, well, you're a colorist. You said this back when you were 14 years old. This girl is a horrible person. She's a colorist. She's a witch. She's a whore. You know, you're not allowed to speak up for yourself. You're supposed to just sit and be quiet. A lot of unambiguous black people, like I mentioned, they don't see us as fairies or like a human being. So to them, you're just a tool, something to use for their own survival, for their own pleasure, for their own amusement. You're supposed to be a celebrity. Celebrities aren't looked at as real people. People don't respect celebrities. People feel comfortable to touch them. People love to delve into celebrities' personal lives and expose all their business. That's how a lot of exoticals are treated in real life. Like we're celebrities, even though we didn't sign up for it. Even if you're not a singer and you're not an actress, you're just a normal person that goes to school, goes to work. You're still held to the same standard of a celebrity. And as you can see with celebrities, if they clap back, then they're the ones demonized for it. People try to, you know, sue them. or claim that celebrity attacked them just for the celebrity speaking back to them or defending themselves. Also, they will try to bully you and gaslight you into identifying with them, saying things like your other non black side won't claim you, or you just look black to me. They want to control your perception of yourself or try to isolate you. Even though every exotical is, is watching this video, I'm sure you've had non black people ask what you are or ask if you are mixed with whatever their race is. So other people do accept us. Of course, there are racist people in this world that just they don't like anyone that's not pure white or pure Asian or whatever. But there are a lot of people in this world that do recognize mixed people as mixed and do see themselves in you and will accept you and invite you into their spaces. So they also want you to represent them, to fight against like the white boogeyman, so aka white supremacy on their behalf. That's why like people like Kamala Harris and Barack Obama are picked to represent black people in the presidency because they feel like you have more proximity to whiteness. But if you don't do everything for the black community, if you don't do everything to please the black community, all of a sudden you're demonized. I've seen, black people that at first loved and supported Kamala Harris and Barack Obama, but when they realized they weren't just doing everything for the black community, then they turned on them. Now, I've heard people are attacking Kamala Harris online. So that's how it is. Also, they want you to pursue the type of relationships they feel they can't attain. So dating rich, dating famous black men, dating rich white men or something like that. They want to live vicariously through you. So I feel like that's why a lot of times exoticals are always lured into some type of sex work, being like a sugar baby or some type of prostitute. I feel like it happens very frequently. I've experienced it. People assume just because of my ambiguity that I must be chasing rich men or I must want a man with money, which is, very ignorant. Also, they want you to fight against white supremacy while using the same tactics created by white supremacy against you. So divide and conquer, trying to divide light skinned exoticals from dark skinned exoticals, telling dark skinned exoticals, oh, light skinned exoticals will never accept you. You're too dark. You don't look mixed. You just look black. Also, stereotypes like evil license stereotypes, putting on these, placing the stereotypes specifically on light skinned exoticals that you're all gold diggers, all whores, all witches. Also, using violence against us when we don't submit to them, when we don't allow them to consume us. And I saw isolation and colorism, especially towards dark skinned exoticals, telling us, well, you don't look mixed, you're too dark. You know, people assume that all mixed people are light skinned and half black and half white with like green eyes, even though mixed people, we know that mixed people come in all colors. Mixed people have all different hair types, eye colors. We don't all look the same. And all mixed people are not mixed with black and white. They're mixed people mixed with black and Asian, um, black and Middle Eastern. And usually all mixed people that are mixed with other people of color usually don't come out light skin. A lot of times they come out darker, specifically like a black person mixing with a Southeast Asian person, they tend to come out darker. Also, a lot of monoracial black people have a lot of resentment towards mixed people. I feel like they hate that they have to rely on you for positive black representation, and they feel like your existence is taking something away from them, even though the media is not controlled by mixed people, it's controlled by mainly white people. They are the ones that decide that mixed people get placed in the front, which is not, our fault. We didn't create colorism. We're just a byproduct of it. Also, they see the world in black and white. So if you don't want to claim black, then you must want to be white. They don't feel like most mixed people I know want to be around other mixed people and tend to date other mixed people when they have the option. But they don't seem to think that. They think that the world is just black and white. And I feel like how you can protect yourself against things like this as an exotical is to set boundaries and build any type of community. But at the same time, that will be seen as like a direct threat to them. They will still watch, they will still compare, they will still compete. As you can see, you have some channels of unambiguous Black women still watching videos from the exotical space and making comments and saying, oh, they're being colorist, they're making videos to hate unambiguous Black women. They should be preaching sisterhood, like they're causing division, even though that's not what we're doing. We're just building community with like-minded people that share the same experiences. We're not making these videos to attack unambiguous Black women. And also, our existence without their approval is seen as a threat. So I feel like we're supposed to be like their cute little lap dogs or like their Barbie dolls. Also, exoticals tend to deal with a lot of emotional, physical, or sexual abuse at the hands of very obsessive monoracial people. I've heard some horror stories of some exoticals that have grown up in more monoracial spaces that have been targeted. Also, you're held under like a magnifying glass, so I feel like they're waiting for you to mess up so they can have a reason to attack you. And usually, if you're in a space where you're outnumbered, usually a lot of us are, you probably won't have a lot of support. People will call you dramatic, people will call you sensitive, or people will just assume that you're making it up, unfortunately. You can experience a lot of bullying or stalking or isolation at school, at work, at the gym, or even at social events. I know a lot of us exoticals can relate to that, feeling like you're unsafe everywhere, feeling like people are watching you, people are talking about you behind your back. You always feel like you have a spotlight on you. And I feel like that's because being exotical, I feel like it comes with like a natural halo effect. So your beauty, your ambiguity, it makes people uncomfortable. It holds a mirror up to them. So they want to project their insecurities back on you. They try to trauma dump on you, turn you into like their therapist, or you feel like you have to be a people pleaser. Also, they try to control and manage you. I've had people, try to tell me how I should wear my hair, how I should be dressing. You should be showing more skin. You should be wearing your hair like this, or you need to try extensions. Trying to, pick apart my appearance, making me feel like just me being natural is not good enough. I'm supposed to dress a certain way to help them get attention as well. And I feel like as an exotical, you have to be very strong and uncompromising with your boundaries. You have to set boundaries right away. I feel like when I was younger, I used to think if I was just very nice and sweet and accommodating to people, that's how make situations better. But really, it worked in the opposite way. I feel like people, because I was so nice and so sweet and so overly accommodating, people felt like they can take advantage of me, or they can make slick comments about me, make jokes at my expense. If anything, it made me more of a target being so nice. Also, if you feel like your identity is being threatened or like your boundaries are being challenged, I feel like it's okay to distance yourself immediately or just cut them off completely. Like if you feel just the slightest bit of tension, if you feel triggered in any type of way, it's best to just get up and walk away or just leave. If you're in an environment where you feel like there's a lot of hypervigilance, if you feel very tense, if you feel anxious and you can't leave, I feel like my shyness is protecting me a lot, my social awkwardness. So leaning into your shyness or social awkwardness for protection in a new or unsafe environment, you can use that as a shield. I feel like that has protected me a lot because people feel like, oh, she seems like she doesn't really want to participate. She seems like she's not going to, really indulge. So we're just not going to invite her. Like I've been uninvited to certain things, and it's not always a bad thing. You never know what's going on. It could be some type of setup. So lean into your shyness or awkwardness when you feel like you're around a group of people that are very obsessive over you. If you feel like they're really trying to get next to you, get up under your skin, trying to force like a close bond with you, lean into your shyness. Be socially awkward. There's nothing wrong with it. If you feel uncomfortable, use your shield. Also, you don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to perform unless you're on stage and getting paid. You don't have to be a comedian. You do not have to be a therapist for anyone because they would not do the same for you, believe me. Also, don't over explain. Don't shrink yourself for anyone. If people make you feel like you have to be that way, then those are not the people for you. Remove yourself from that situation, cut those people off. There are plenty other social groups, there are plenty other environments of people that will accept you just for you being you. Also, be prepared for people to start labeling you a narcissist for not apologizing, not people pleasing, not, letting your boundaries down, not letting people walk all over you like a doormat. You're going to be labeled a bad person by these people because you wouldn't let them consume you. You're going to be labeled stuck up, uppity, a witch, or people might even try to take your black card away. I've heard that, especially with more mixed light skin exoticals, especially people trying to tell them that you're not really black. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for the next one. Thank you.